Today's Excel demonstration is on the basics. So we're going to call this basics number 1. This is the basics on organizing your data. So notice how in this workbook right now called Excel demonstration basics number 1 is I've got some data. I've got data, if we look at the Excel spreadsheet, I've got a 2.49 that's sitting in a location we would call A1. So I've got column A, column B, column D, and column E. On the other side, I've got rows coming this way, row 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. So the first thing that I want to do is I'd like to put some labels on this data so that when I pick up this Excel workbook, I know exactly what's going on and I know what column A is, I know what column B is, etc. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight row 1 and I'm going to right click and I'm going to insert. When I click insert, because I've got a row highlighted, it understands that I'm inserting a row. So on top of this row, I want to put the label of what column A is. And column A is price. So I'm going to put price on the top of this column. And then in this column, I'm going to put quantity, and then in parentheses, in ounces. Then I want these other two to say exactly the same thing because I'm doing a comparison across two different stores. I'm going to call one store A and the other one store B. So we're going to come over here and I'm going to highlight price and quantity. I'm going to right click, pick copy. Then I'm going to come over here to D. I'm going to right click again and click paste. So now I've got both of these two labeled as far as price and quantity for both of the two. When I scroll down, so notice as I go down to look at my data down here, my labels are gone. The labels, I don't know what column A is and what column B is. And, I want to know, does that mean 4.99 pounds? Does that mean $4.99? I don't know what's going on those, on the labels that I created on the top for my data fields. So I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to highlight this first row and I'm going to come up here to the top. Notice where I'm highlighting something called freeze panes. So I'm going to highlight the freeze pane. I'm going to left click and I'm going to freeze the top row. So keep the top row visible while scrolling through the rest of the worksheet. So I'm going to highlight that. So I clicked on that and now when I scroll down, so I'm coming over here and I'm scrolling down, notice how price, quantity, and ounces stays locked up there in that top row. Now the next thing that I want to do is I truly want somebody to be able to pick this up and know that the 2.49 means $2.49. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at these values, and in this column I'm going to my home tab and I'm coming over here and I'm going to click the button that has a dollar sign in it. So when I click that, now I have dollar signs in front of those amounts. So now that I know that the price is truly $2.49. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. I'm going to highlight this whole column. I'm going to click on the dollar sign and now all of those are clearly labeled that their price is 99 cents, $2.59, etc. The next thing that I want to do, so remember I'm just organizing this data. I'm trying to make my worksheet understandable for someone that's going to pick it up and not just have a pile of numbers. The next thing that I want to do is I want to actually put some numbers, as far as this would be called an index, next to each one of those prices so that if somebody said, oh, item number 8, we could figure out which one was item number 8. So I'm going to highlight the column A again, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to insert. So now because I've got a column inserted, it's going to insert a column. Now for this one, next to the $2.49, I'm going to call that one number 1, and I'm going to call this one number 2. Then I'm going to highlight both of those. I'm going to click on the 1 and the 2 together, and then I'm going to take this dot that's on the corner. So notice how the dot that's there below the number 2, and I'm going to hold down my left mouse button, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom, and I'm going to stop right here, and it fills in. So that's called indexing. And indexing can be used if you wanted to go up by 2s, you would put in a 2 and then a 4. If you wanted to go up by 5s, you might go 5 and 10. So you just have to start the incrementation, and then Excel knows by the pattern you created how you want it to index. You could index dates if you wanted to put dates in there and do the first 30 days of a month or whatever. And so indexing is what we use to label each one of these. So now I know that item number 24 is $3.99 for 18 ounces. I'm going to do the same thing over here for my second store. I'm going to click on my column E. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to pick insert again. So it's going to insert a column in there. I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to put a 1 next to that one. So the first one that's 99 cents, I'm going to put a 1, and then I'm going to show Excel what the pattern is. So I'm going to put a 2 in the next location, and I'll highlight the 1 and the 2. Oops. Maybe. So I'll highlight the 1 and the 2. I'll take the corner, and then I'll drag it down all the way down to the bottom to my very last element. And so now it's indexed. The next thing that we'll do is maybe I want to let somebody know what this price and this quantity is associated with. And I want them to understand that this is a store that I went to get these prices. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to highlight row 1, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert, and it's going to insert a row up at the top, and I'm going to label this one Store A, and I'm going to label this one Store B. And then maybe just to make it clear, I will highlight all the way over like this, and I'll go over here to my fill button where it says fill color, and maybe I'll make it light blue. So I've kind of got this title on it, this nice title block. I have Store A, Store B. I've got all these items. I've got their price, and I've got their quantity in ounces. Last thing that I'm going to do in this demonstration is I'm going to label this. So I'm coming down to the bottom where Excel labels this as sheet 1. I'm going to come over here. I left clicked on my mouse, and I'm going to backspace this out, and I'm going to type in raw data. Okay, so there's our basics on organizing. We talked a little bit about the numbers. So we talked about the numbers that are here at the top and how they begin with being general. We changed them to dollars. We talked about inserting a row. We inserted a column. We did some indexing, and we used the freeze function to freeze this top row so that when we scroll down, that top row is going to be fixed, and we'll know exactly what's on the top of the different columns. Okay, click on the next video so that we can continue on.